Hi, it's Adele Michael, and I'm back with day 2 of Money and More, opening to more abundance, ease, and flow. And today we're examining the second pillar of how to align with abundance. We know that there is abundance everywhere. We see it in nature. We are an abundant being in our own body with trillions of processes going on every day. And yet, sometimes abundance can seem very far away. And so, my goal with this series is to help you understand yourself better so that you can navigate your own alignment with abundance, and also to invite you into a deeper experience, which I'll tell you about on Thursday. A deeper experience with me, if that's something that calls to you. So today we are talking about emotional expression. Yeah, so our first pillar is mental, and I asked you to do some homework yesterday, so would love for you to tell me what you noticed. And today we're going to go into the emotions. So I have to say that I have a big beef with a lot of the self-help that's out there, because it's basically like, just get over it. Just get over it. Well, in my personal experience, I have never been able to do that. I remember when I was in graduate school, I got a master's in counseling psychology, and my mentor was so well-intentioned, and he gave me this book by Albert Ellis called Rational Emotive Therapy. It's like, think your way out of your emotions. Well, your emotions don't live in your mind. They live in your body. So that did not work very well for me. And until I discovered how to talk to the subconscious and how to communicate with the deeper layers of my emotions, I kept being run by my emotions. And I found that in these very challenging times that we're in now in 2020, that was coming up again for me. So what I have been using for myself and for clients is the Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Dr. Nelson is a chiropractor, and he found that people began to heal much better when their hidden and stuck emotions were released. So he has a simple binary chart where he column A or column B, and then 6 rows, and they correspond to the meridians in the body. So in the organs where these emotions are stored, according to ancient Chinese medicine, that's what the Emotion Code works with. And it's been really helpful for me. It's something that you could learn too if you want to do some do-it-yourself Emotion Code, emotion release. And what I've found so interesting as I do it with clients and with myself is that many times the emotions are stuck from a very early age. For me, one issue you take an issue and you find what emotions are involved with that. And what I found was some of it was really early, like 1 month in utero. Because, when you think about it, we're in our mother's womb. We are absorbing her nutrients, her hormones, her thoughts and feelings. If she has a fight with her partner, or she's abandoned, or she doesn't have the money to raise a child, all sorts of emotions would come up. And I just can only imagine that my mother she was married, but she was a young bride. And I don't think either she or my father were quite ready for me to come along quite so early. I think they got pregnant maybe 6 months after they got married, 5 or 6 months. So here I came, but they were not real happy about it. So I absorbed all that emotional soup, and doing the Emotion Code has helped me release that specifically. What I like about it, it's very specific. And I've also found a lot of inherited emotions, especially around abundance and money and being able to be prosperous. And I've worked in one of my classes, and I plan to do more of these because it's such a potent area of working with the ancestral lineage inheritance of what did I inherit from my family in terms of how I feel about abundance and money. And then the third thing that I've noticed, and I can't really explain this, but a lot of past life stuff. Now, you don't have to believe in past lives. I'm not really sure what I think about it, even though I've been doing regressions and being regressed for over 20 years. What I think it really is, whether we can prove it or not, that you were that person in a past life, it's an awareness of, and a story that you tell yourself. So if I have past life experiences with times like this one, which I think I have, those emotions would be stuck and would keep me, kind of down in emotional expression, not being able to be up and joyous and happy and capable of moving forward. So stuck emotions are very important. But if you're not using the abundance code, that's a good one, the abundance code, the emotion code, what do you do? So one thing to do is ask yourself what remains unexpressed or hidden. And like I said yesterday, if something feels heavy, it's probably not the truth. It's something that kind of got wrapped around a thought, and an identity, and something you thought was supposed to happen. So an example would be shame. And Brené Brown writes a lot about shame, and she's done such good work to open up that whole conversation. Guilt, repression, oppression, being oppressed by others, restriction, self-judgment, and self-stopping. So I think you may be able to relate to this. You may have goals and desires, and you notice that you're stopping yourself. Yeah, we all do that. And a lot of it is from the stuck emotions, the stuck darker or heavier emotions. So the next question is, how can you tend to your inner self? How can you tend to your inner self? And by that I mean, it could be your inner child, it could be your inner teenager, it could be the part of you that got stuck in that time when something happened and you feel ashamed of it, or you feel that you haven't really moved through and resolved the emotional block. How can you tend to that? And one way to do it is simply to close your eyes and just imagine that you could have a conversation with that part. And no, it does not mean that you have multiple personality disorder. We all have different aspects of ourselves, and we have different parts. You have the joyous part, you have the happy part, you have the serious part, you have the I have to work hard part. We all have different parts. So the point of this is to have a conversation either in your mind or on paper. I do a lot of dialogue journaling. So I'll say, Adele, so what's up with you, inner self? And inner self can say, well, I'm feeling really sad today because whatever. And that dialogue actually can bring up the emotions that are underlying that and help you to, and once you're aware of them, you can start to sort through them and move through them so they're not stuck anymore. And how can you allow healing? I am just astounded at how many people I talk to, many women who are really not feeling like they have the permission to ask for help. And I don't necessarily mean help from another person, although if you have a helpful person in your life that would love to help you, by all means ask. But I'm talking about the invisible help that's available. The spirit of love, the spirit of healing, the spirit of release. And inviting that in inviting in any spirit, any quality that you desire to possess and experience right now is a very simple way to begin to heal these emotional blocks to abundance and money. So, what are the tools for you to use? I've already talked about noticing what you're feeling. And sometimes that's really difficult because if you've had a rough background, if you've suffered abuse, and many people have, or restriction or constriction, those emotions live in the body, and so it's sometimes difficult or seems overwhelming. Like, if I felt that, I would be overwhelmed. And maybe that's true, and maybe that requires some work with someone who can help dissolve the trauma of that, erase the traumatic memories, the traumatic charge. And by trauma, I mean anything that knocks you off your authentic self, the expression of your authentic self. And all of us have experienced trauma on this earth. Some of it is big T trauma, and some of it is little t trauma. Like, somebody gives you a dirty look because of the color of your skin, or someone gives you a judgmental glance, or actually says something to you that's harmful, that's hurtful. That's a trauma. And, that's just a fact of life. And there are ways to resolve that and to clear that so that's not a trigger for you. You can still remember it happened, but it's not a trigger. And I say that with great confidence because back in the day when I was first in my career of doing this kind of work, I worked with women who had survived abuse, and using the tools that I knew then, and I have more now, it was pretty remarkable that they could remember what happened to them, but it did not have an emotional charge. It did not have an emotional charge. So that's the point of this whole conversation, is how can we take the charge off of the emotions that are stored and stuck in your body that trigger you to an adverse reaction: fear, anxiety, terror, panic, freeze. It's fight, flight, or freeze now is what the scientists are telling us is what our nervous system does when we are in panic or in fright. So, noticing your feelings and going as deep into them as you can, and if you can't go very deep, that's fine, just a little bit. Noticing what you might be blocking or avoiding. Yeah, that's a big one, because as long as it's blocked or avoided, it's going to stay in you as a magnet, literally as a magnet, to magnetize situations and people to you so that you get it sorted and healed. I truly believe that that's what happens. And I've noticed it in my own life as I've cleared up these stored and stuck emotions that I've been avoiding for so long. Those situations just don't happen as often. I mean, I'm not saying my life is perfect by any means, but I don't get triggered. I don't have those situations come to me the way they used to. And I think another way to talk about this is what's in the shadow. You may have heard of shadow work. And what shadow work is you have an experience, you have an emotion about it. You don't like the emotion and you don't think it's acceptable. So you put it in the dark closet where nobody sees it. You think. You don't see it. You think. But it's still there. It's still alive. That energy is still alive. And the purpose of doing shadow work is to free up that energy, free up your power, bring it back into the light. Let yourself forgive and accept yourself. It's like, yep, that happened. I did that. Or that happened to me and I thought it was my fault. Bringing that back into alignment with the truth, which is you are valuable and lovable just as you are. You embody the light. You are not the dark. You embody the light. And bringing that shadow material into the light is a way to come back into alignment with your true self so that you can express yourself and have the experiences and the opportunities that you desire to have to move forward in your growth, in your abundance, in your ease, in your flow, and in your money. So if they're shame, guilt, fear, those kind of heavy emotions stored in your shadow closet, that's what you refer to when you think about making money. Having money, attracting money, being given money, growing money, all of that's very active. And you want it to be, you actually, at your own pace, want to do some tidying up of that closet and allow those shadow emotions to come into the light, accept them, accept yourself, love yourself, forgive yourself, so that you're free to have more in your life. And I'm not talking about material things, even though some people want more of material things. I think a lot of people now are looking for more community, more love, more relationships, more that are nourishing, more abundance, more ease, more flow, and of course, we all want more money because that's what this culture runs on. It's money and your self-worth around money, which is totally a falsehood. It is not about that. What money is about is it's actually a reflection of how you value yourself. And don't make yourself wrong about that. If you're having some money issues, do not make yourself wrong about it. It just is an invitation to do this work. So, your homework is, what is your predominant feeling about abundance? And what feelings might be underneath that? Okay, so that's your assignment for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be back with the third pillar, which is physical, the physical expression, removing physical blocks to abundance. And I look forward to seeing you then. Please let me know anything that's coming up for you, and especially let me know your questions. We will be doing that on Monday at 10 a.m. live on Facebook. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day.